Hey everyone, welcome to the Merry 4th of July stream. Doing Q&A today, gonna see how many I can get through, and become a member. We're only a few away from hitting that 3,000 mark, and YouTube is paying attention, so we're getting access to a little more features and stuff. Hopefully they'll be good or not just totally buggy, and there's still some buggy stuff going on that we're trying to fix. We have one user that can't chat even though they are a member, and we've looked into it and we've got YouTube looking into it, so bear with us. We'll do what we can. But thanks for showing up today. That's before the festivities, myself included. I have not been sleeping well. I'm just gonna get that right out of the gate here I'm tired. I don't know why. And before anyone tries to fix me, because that's what the internet does, like, you need to be doing this, that, this, eating this, doing that, doing this. Mostly it's had a lot on my mind. I got to figure out how to clear my mind so I can actually go to sleep. That's where I'm at. Did we miss the beginning, Michael Young? Oh, this is only the beginning for Aquarium Co-op. We got so far to go. Not just in the live stream, but in general. Obviously the club's shaping up, doing lots of things behind the scenes, lots of meetings going on, lots of all that kind of stuff. Speakers, we've got more lined up officially. They're not fully built out, but I can give you a little tasterino if you want. So, the new ones that are added, I think, would be Jeremy Bosch on Catfish, and then Dr. Ashley Emanuel, who's an aquatic vet, which, true aquatic vet, as opposed to just like a vet that has a certification. We got Chris Lukup, the Shrimp King, in February, and then in March, kind of going in, so, some of these talks have to be planned ahead, right? Or timed, right? And so we have Koi from Zach. If you know the Real Fish Talk series we did, he was on the show. People liked him a whole bunch. He owns koi.com. He's actually local to us, and he's a great presenter and speaker and all of that. So that's what we got it built out to March so far. We get a lot of questions on, if I'm not a member and then I join, will I be able to watch the old talks? And yes, as long as you're a member, you'll be able to watch the talks. They're going to stay up. So, if you join in 5 years from now, you'll have a bunch of talks to watch. Now, you won't be able to participate in the live stream where you're, asking questions and all of that, and you won't be able to see it live if that's what you want. So that's one reason. And then there's all the club benefits that are coming, and things are just caught up in mostly programming issues. It's not ready to release to prime time, so it's like, well, it's pretty much working, but even right now on the normal website from the big rollout we did, we have quite a few bugs we're still stamping out. Like, I'm using this device with this browser, clicking it behind my head, and this thing breaks. And then we go, okay, well, we'll fix that. And so we're just rooting all those out. Is Chris still allowed to call himself the Shrimp King now that he left Dennerley? I don't know, probably. If not, if Dennerley wants to go to war, they can. It's one of those things that, in my personal opinion, from knowing kind of behind the scenes and all of that, Dennerley without the Shrimp King would have been like handicapped. So if people don't know, Chris Lukup, the Shrimp King, in a roundabout way, well, I don't know if it's, I don't want to basically say he did something that he didn't do. To the best of my knowledge, he's kind of the grandfather of nanotanks. And so he thought it was going to become very popular. This was not many years ago, but like way before nanotanks were a thing, kind of. And he went to Tetra, and Tetra said, you're crazy. And then he went to Eheim. Eheim said, you're crazy. He went to Dennerley, and he was able to convince them to make nanotanks. Now, they obviously became super duper popular, and that's kind of the bread and butter of what Dennerley does. And then the shrimp line of foods and the substrate and all that stuff went into that as well. So, but if you were to strip those products away from Dennerley, you're left with not very many that I think are really truly breakout products. So, but as far as I know, they're still on good terms and all of that. And he's working with a new company. And just the other day, I was actually talking with him, trying to figure out when I'm going to go out to Germany again. So, yeah. Yeah, if you're excited for Chris's talk, Chris gives great talks. And the reason I think he does is because he's just better than me and been doing it longer than me. Not that I'm the best speaker, but what I'm looking at him and what do I want to accomplish. And I think part of it is he's got underwater footage and pictures and all these things from going out in the wild way more times than I've ever been to more exotic places that I've been. And the stories that go along with that are really good. And I think part of it is, we're going to Peru again this year, and that'll be my third Peru trip. I think 3, 4, 5, 6 trips, you can really start putting together a good presentation on it, because you have 4 or 5 trips of footage and that kind of stuff to draw from, but then the experiences and the stories, right? If you only had one funny thing that happened in a year, and that's your talk, right? That gets stale and maybe doesn't fill up an hour. But if you have 5 trips and you had like, this thing went horribly wrong, this one was incredibly funny, this was super cool to find, you put all of that, and now you're condensing it down into a 1 hour, kind of experience. And so, and the other thing Chris has is, basically people can go, oh, I'd like to see an encore. And he's like, oh yeah? Clicks a button and has another amazing talk in a different part of the world, or about shrimp, or whatever he's doing. He's been kind of had his hands in everything. So yeah, like Chris's energy. Yeah, he's a good dude. That's the overall underlying thing. Maybe I'll tell a story. The reason I kind of got involved with Chris is, I think I met him. I'm trying to even actually remember like how I knew who he was. I think what happened was, at an aquatic experience, everyone's like, that's the Shrimp King. And I'm like, never heard of the guy, no idea, right? And he was just running the shrimp thing. And then I went to Germany for Interzoo. And there was the shrimp guy again, right? And somehow, I think what it was is, our goal for Joel and I was to like kind of get sponsorships or work with companies for the YouTube channel and my business. And so we kind of sat down or got introduced to the booth there. And that's kind of where we hit it off, I guess. And it was what really I would say, so like, obviously besides personality and that kind of stuff, because sometimes you might be like, yeah, they were nice, whatever. But there was because we were there with Flueball, by the way. So there was a big banquet dinner, like Saturday night or whatever that night was. And we didn't have tickets. Flueball didn't get us any tickets, apparently. But once Chris found out, he's like, oh, I can find you some tickets. And so he's working on getting us some tickets, and he's gotten us 1 out of 2. And now, like, the banquet's starting, the line's forming, and he's like, well, just take my ticket, I won't go, or I'll find another ticket. And he would not take no for an answer. So Joel and I have his ticket and someone else's ticket that he got. And money couldn't buy these tickets. Like, they had to be prearranged and all of that. And so he was willing to give it up. He eventually got another ticket. We had a great dinner, and we hung out and everything. And that was kind of the start. But the fact that he was willing to give up, for himself. And I watched him actually track down another ticket for someone else. Like, and I've seen him do that time and time and time again after that, of he'd rather put other people, basically their interests, in front of his own. And that's a great quality to have in a friend. So I abuse that as much as I can. No. But no, it aligns with my morals. And then also it just happened that he doesn't drink or do any drugs or anything. And so when we go to events, we typically do like a little ice cream social. We go have ice cream, we invite fans and hang out. And that's more my scene than the getting drunk scene. So would I ever live the pirate life collecting fish from the 7 seas? I want to start that movement. I had not heard it put that way, but I do want to start the pirate life, minus the pillaging. But no, that is, I do want to travel a ton. Traveling is very hard. If you haven't traveled back to back in different countries and all of that, at least on me and my body, and at least the people I travel with, it's very hard. Like, I'm trying to say this without getting into trouble, but we're going to be in Peru, right? And then 2 days later, we basically have another engagement that we have been invited to because we're winning some awards and stuff. But it doesn't make sense to be in Peru for like 10 or 11 days, be home for 14 hours, and hop on a flight again, and expect my body and Randy's body not just to completely fall apart. And so, there's stuff like that that's like, oof, and like in October, we've got so many good events coming up. There's Aquashell on Halloween. There's the ALA convention, kind of the middle of the month, I believe. There is the Catfish convention. There is the trip to the UK that we're probably doing. might only be 4 events, but there's no way we can attend all of them, and they're all like, I really want to go to the ALA one, Aquashella would be fun, and the UK one, and then Catfish Convention, that's the one, it's not that it's bad, but that's the one where I can decidedly go like, well, the other 3 are clearly more important to me. You know, the most important one is probably the Lion one for me, but I meet the least amount of fans, and business-wise, it makes the least amount of sense. And so I'm always like, I can go next year, or I can go to Peru, or not Peru, Florida, a different month. I am looking forward to torturing Zenzo, though. He has never traveled outside the country, and it's going to be a wake-up call. As in, long flights. There's like a whole strategy to it to not just be miserable. I feel like I've definitely had some very miserable flights. I've also had some great flights. Like the best one ever, I think, was on the way back from that Interzoo trip. I slept 8 of the like 10 hours. And so like I'm on the plane for an hour, conk out for 8 hours, wake up, and like, we're gonna be home in an hour. Oh man. And I actually arrived home rested. So hard to do. Is Enzo going to Peru? Yes he is. And so right now it's Randy, myself, Dean, and Zenzo. And possibly Jimmy. We're waiting on some paperwork to see if that can happen. But yeah, a lot of other people have inquired to come onto our boat and do all that. We've said no. Even some speakers and good friends. And it's mostly, we want to make sure that we're there to film for you guys. And we don't want anything to get in front of it. We don't want, different opinions in that, like, well, I want to go collect this, or I want to go do that, or this needs to happen. And so it's it's going to be the most expensive videos we've ever made, but hopefully the insight that I glean out of them from just the way our fish we keep in aquariums are actually working in nature, I think is worth it. It's like education. You know, if $20,000 to make 3 or 4 videos sounds crazy, $20,000 invested into education sounds less crazy. And I do believe it to be some education that isn't readily, or it's not that it's not readily out there, it's that you have to experience type of thing. So maybe you do, you read the book for driver's ed to learn how to drive, right? And you can read all the rules and you can memorize it. That doesn't replace it for actually doing it. And that's, I think, the same thing very much so for collecting in the wild and seeing fish and seeing these things in person. You know, people don't write about, hey, look, those cichlids are spawning in that tire. Oh, look at the garbage. They look at water parameters and population counts and things like that. And, those, while important, are missing a big portion of what's going on there. And, and I'm not going to set up an aquarium with like, oh, look, there's my tire, they're spawning in it. But to show that they would use that gives, more, I guess, of an open mind to what you might put in your own aquarium, and just seeing the fish adapt time and time and time again through all these different scenarios, and then being able to myth bust things like, oh, there's Corydoras on really hard, sharp substrate, and then, you can catch them and look at their barbels like, oh, they're amazing. So you can verify things, and it's not really verifying because you're not there on a mission usually. You just go, hey, yeah, that does make sense. Hey, yeah, that is weird. The fact that you don't find any snails where like Amazon puffers come from, like, that's weird. Okay, well, let's think about that one, or just, it's the questions you don't have yet that you will then get while you're there. So I used to fly every other week, developed a conditioned response that lets you fall asleep almost immediately after I get into the seat. Well, I don't have that ability yet. I wish I did. More and more I'm conditioning myself to pull it off. Like, I gotta be honest, I'm gonna fly first class to Peru. It's an extra $500. So the ticket's like $1,700, normal ticket's $1,200, right? And I know that from just previous travels, if I don't spend that money, if I'm back in economy, I'm cramped, and I don't sleep a wink, and the traveling to get there, so the fastest flight we could find is 22 and a half hours to get there. So we all know how that's like. If you've ever flown before, it's like, okay, I gotta go to the airport, gotta get up early, gotta make sure I get there an hour or two in advance, gotta do the whole airport thing. So I'm gonna have been up for probably like 27, 28 hours, right? And then when you land in Peru and it's 11 o'clock in the morning, now you got to do all your daily stuff. You got to move stuff. You got to get it onto the boat. You got to do all this work. Now, for an extra $500 though, if I can, like the lay down seats, right? If I can sleep, even if I could just get 3-4 hours, get a nap in, all of a sudden I hit that ground and I'm ready to turn a camera on, ready to film for you guys. I'm ready to do all these things instead of just like, okay, I don't feel so good right now, you know, and just like got to do it. Because there's no second takes when you go on a filming trip like that. It's, you're here, you've got this day to film that if you don't have the camera on. And I've seen even Jimmy do it. It's Jimmy's job to do it. And I've seen him get jet lagged where Jimmy didn't even go eat. And Jimmy doesn't do that. Jimmy loves to eat and try different things. He just laid in the car while everyone ate lunch, and he was just, you know, jet lag was killing him. And I've been there too, and it's not fun, especially when you know you're 2 weeks away from home. There's no comforts. You hope that you brought everything. You brought all the, you know, diarrhea meds or just Advil or whatever you can think of, and you can find it in your gear. And you're just trying to, you know, and you're like, I just want a bottle of water. And then you're like, oh, I have to go find where we can get a bottle of water. So you're stripped of all comforts. And so that's what I found. The way back, it's nice to have the first class, but not nearly as important as going there. And I've definitely had that problem multiple times, just even speaking events. So, but yes, trying to do that, learning over time, because I hate spending the money. To me, the money every time could be new fish, new camera, all these things that the business needs. But you know, as I age, I'm realizing I need some of this. Otherwise, I break down. You know, if I got to stand 72 hours straight and shake the hands of fans for 3 days in an Aquashella, I got to bring my A game, because if I'm not feeling it, that's not good for anyone. Sounds like a miserably amazing time. It kind of is. I mean, Peru already is that. Like, I'm going to see the coolest fish of my life after I'm done puking and having diarrhea. It's going to be amazing. You know, so you try to build in the parts you know might not be awesome. Just bring them up to like, okay, bearable. Bring that up to bearable. Fan shaking is for members only. I like it. Dumb question after being in the hobby for almost 2 years. But can I do water changes and add taps safe after filling the tank up instead of mixing in the buckets? Yeah, what I do is I just add it to the aquarium. So when I do water changes, which most of them are automatic in my life at this point, but there are times I have to do manual ones. Normally what I do is I'll start the water. Like I'll walk over, turn the water on, walk back, take your dechlorinator, which I realize this is not, and then I would squirt enough dechlorinator in there. And then I start, you know, working on the aquarium or doing whatever I'm doing while it's filling up. I've never had a bad time where I put in dechlorinator and the water's filling, and maybe there's too much dechlorinator for that volume of water or whatever. It fills up fast enough that I've never actually run into a problem. Now, you might find that, well, I only have a 3-gallon aquarium. I drain 2.5 gallons. I put the dechlorinator in. Maybe in a half-gallon of water you can run into a problem, but any tank, 10 gallons and up, I've never had that problem yet. But I also haven't tested every dechlorinator on the market. So, you know, test it yourself, but I haven't heard of anyone even having problems. So, all right, lots of new members. That's good. Yes, if you're enjoying that live stream, hit the like button. It'll send out another notification to another fish friend going, oh yeah, they're live streaming today. Corey skipped last week. What a fool. We did film for 12 hours last week, so as a member, you guys got the guacamole video. My evil plan, hopefully Dean's not going to watch this. He usually listens to them, though. My evil plan is I'm just going to keep saying, but Dean, the members want you to make me tacos. The members want you to make me pizza. And we'll film it. Meanwhile, we're just getting Dean's professional cooking right in front of us. It was so stupid hot that day. It was kind of crazy that it was actually cooler in our warehouse and store than it was at Dean's house, because at those places we have lots of fans and all this stuff we're trying. Our Dean's house was just the face of the sun. It was stupid. Uh-oh, someone didn't get their text message today? I don't know. A lot of other people did. Calidor. Either A, maybe it got sent to like a spammy thing? I don't know. I just got some Brazilian Pennywort from Aquariumcoop. How exactly do you plant it? Do I have to pull the runners where the roots are? Oh, wait, yeah, do I have to put the runners into the gravel? Yeah, you just basically, you're gonna get some stems to grow up, the bottom stems, put them into the gravel, they'll root out. You'll still get roots on the other ones. You could then put them down and get them to root more, but eventually it always kind of travels upward. You can also just grow it floating, but most people anchor it down, I would say. Only 7 more members to hit the 3,000 mark. By the way, I did ask YouTube. I was like, where are we at with memberships? And they're not allowed to tell me. But what they could officially say is, well, we're watching what you do because you're doing very well at it. So I get the feeling like we're, I don't know, up there. I don't know if we're the best. You got to assume like, oh, look at that. Will Smith has 47,000 members or something. Like maybe we're doing like the best that aren't celebrities or something. I have no idea. But I was, tipping my hat to the membership for that one. Where can I purchase or find Yucatan Mollies, a Posilia volifera? I fell in love with them in one of your old fish room tours and have since been searching with no luck. Let me look real quick. Let me see if I can get you your answer. Gotta find the fish list. Where are they? Oh, I'm not finding it. I think Greg Sage has them, which is selectaquatics.com. I'll take you guys with me so at least you can see what I'm searching his archaic website, which, yeah, right here. Announcements. Right here. Posilia volifera available. Contact. Oh no, he's not selling it, but someone else is. So right here, I solved at least one person's problem today. That means this live stream is a success. You gotta contact azulaquatics@gmail.com, and they've got Posilia volifera. So there you go. Yeah. Greg's an old school library breeder, so I haven't talked to him in a long time. I keep meaning that it's like, yeah, on the list of my stuff, I really need to send that guy an email, and I just haven't. Any tips on how to use an API test kit? Heard nitrate or nitrite really has to be shaken hard to know when the tank is cycled for a betta. Plant tank before or after the tank is cycled? So definitely before. I would cycle your tank, get those plants growing. You do have to shake the bottle a lot. I wouldn't say it's like hard though. It's not like, yeah! Instead, you just gotta, basically make a dedicated effort to really make sure you're mixing those reagents. Honestly, most people don't do it right. Everyone, you might use a test kit to test their water like that, but they get lazy over time and they're not like reading it at the right times. But yeah, it'll work. And the other thing I would really stress in the hobby is test kits are an approximation. That's all we need. We don't need to know, but it's 7.169967 pH. Like in my hobby, and I manage the store, I manage the warehouse, I manage, this. All I'm looking for is it 7? Is it 8? Or is it 6.4? Anything in between literally doesn't matter to me in any fish that I've ever bred ever. Dean, we were talking about this the other day. He's like, maybe I need to do an example of he gets so many questions about how do I breed rams, right? And my water is hard and my pH is high. I can't breed rams, and his pH is over 8, right? And so it's not so. I don't know why. I don't know where in the hobby this started. Where if I don't have this number, things aren't going to happen, right? At some point, we devolve the hobby into that. I don't have this number, it's not going to work. And the reality is, it's like we talked about in Peru, they adapt to all these different conditions, right? So maybe 30 years ago or 40 years ago, it was like, oh, if the pH is between 7 and 8, fish will breed. And then someone found one fish that wouldn't breed, but it would at 7, 8. So then it went, fish between 7 and 7, 8 will breed. And then, oh, but 7 is kind of too low for goldfish, like right on the edge there. Let's bump it to 7, 2. So now we're 7, 2 to 7, 8. And I think it's over time, it's gotten to where this like super narrow window where 99% of the fish have this actual super broad window of where they'll breed. And so you guys have never seen it on camera, but I used to exclusively basically breed African cichlids because that's the store I worked at. There was over 300 tanks. Most of them were African cichlids. I was able to make my living basically by breeding and selling those to the store I worked at. Not a single one of those tanks had any pH different than 7.0, which is not optimal for any of them by book standards. And maybe that's what I got to do. Maybe I got to make like a book or an internet standard like thing as a known term. Like book standard would say, and then like practical experience would say, cichlids are one of the hardiest fish on the planet. They don't care. And when I say they don't care, I'm sure that everyone loves it when you walk out of your house. You're like, is it exactly 76 degrees? With no humidity, and someone handed me my favorite food the minute I walked out the door? This is perfect. I'd like this all the time. And yet we magically live when we walk out and it's like, well, it's only 72 today. And a little bit humid. Not bad, right? So I think that's what we focus because we do want the best for, our pets and that kind of stuff. But a lot of times what we deem as best is not even best, and then we chase it and it's worse. So like obviously, you've probably heard about chasing water parameters is bad for fish. That happens quite a bit. Oh, there's a black screen. You can't see or hear me? Is that true? No, I don't think that's true. I think my wife's having a problem. My wife needs to refresh her stream, I think. Oh, wait. No, that message came through. That's weird. That message came through 25 minutes ago. I don't know why. Anyway, it just now came through. Maybe our internet's crashing to the ground. Who knows? But anyway, I do think there's, I've watched this play out on our forum, and it's getting to the point where I'm just going to crack down on people. But basically, people are fighting, which I don't enjoy at all. And so if you're on the forum and you haven't seen Corey posting lately, this is why. The other people are ruining it for me. They're fighting of, I don't think your source is as good as my source. Essentially what it boils down to. Everyone involved would argue, like, that's not what I'm trying to do. It's like, well, that's what it comes off as. And when there's 100 people that, report you as being a fool and making their life miserable, then I have to side with them. But, there's lots of scientific data out there. Scientific data is wrong all the time. It is a great source, and I do look at it and I read it, but it doesn't always apply to an aquarium. Right? And scientific studies are usually very narrow because you can't study everything. So it really hones in on, like one of them was, are all live bacterias fake? And they would cite thing after thing after thing after thing of like bacteria can't live with oxygen, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. And if someone was to come in and read that, they're going to left with, they're all a scam. And the reality, and I didn't even pipe in because I was like, I don't want to get involved in this because people have already made up their minds. They're not here, and that's, they're claiming debate. It's not a debate, in my opinion, when you're there to just convince someone that they're wrong, right? I don't think that's a healthy debate when that's what you're claiming. Oh, healthy debate, I'm here to learn. Like, but you're not if you're only going to railroad someone. And so, like, my official response would be like, well, what about Turbo Start from Fritz Aquatics? I've been to the lab, I've seen it, I've talked with the scientists, I saw the refrigeration, I see the expiration date. I talked to them about how do they keep it alive? How is it going to go in the shipping process? Why doesn't Aquariumcoop carry it? Because I'm not sure I can 100% keep it refrigerated at the right temperature on the way to your house yet, right? It's got a big temperature range, but if we can keep it cool enough, the bacteria stays in stasis basically and doesn't consume, right? Just like we know, hey, don't goldfish and koi and other cold water things do that in our ponds? We can also slow down all that metabolic process on bacteria. And then when you put it into your aquarium, it warms back up and starts eating, right? So the components become, in a bottle like that, you need food, something to feed the bacteria. You need enough oxygen or whatever you're going to have in there to keep them alive if they are consuming, right? And then if you can slow them down basically into a state where they're not consuming, you now have a shelf life. Now, are there bacterias in bottles that probably don't work? Yeah, I've tested some, and not all of them do work. But I've tested enough to know that there's no way I could. And by the way, the whole conversation was going like it's just a money grab. Companies are lying, right? In my opinion, there are always going to be things that break science, right? Scientifically, that shouldn't work. Happens all the time in aquariums for me. I'm like, that goes against everything we know, and yet here it is working. Here it is doing what it needs to do, right? I also am an armchair chemist, right? In that I don't know anything, I read stuff. And if you read enough studies, you'd be like, and it's impossible for plants to utilize ammonia. But yet, the end result of my aquariums is if you cycle an aquarium with plants, you never see ammonia, right? You're also bringing in bacteria, and there's other things going on, other processes going on. But that's the thing is, I don't think, and we're close to banning people, basically. And it comes down to this. Don't fight with one another. And just be helpful and kind. Everyone's got that. Like maybe you believe 100% they're all fake, right? And that's fine, right? But then people even admit, like, well, I just post this to kind of stir up some drama. And that person got banned. Straight up ban that person. And I think, in general, everything we know about an aquarium is subject to change at any moment. We think we know it all. We think we know it all about science, and yet it changes all the time. So, in terms of cycling your aquarium, using live plants for that betta tank, by all means. I think that's a great method to do it. That's how I prefer to do it. But there are many ways to get it done. I just really like to be, instead of sitting in an empty glass box, I like to be looking at plants growing. And when plants grow, then you can add your fish. We've got how to do that, by the way. I don't know if we have it on the website yet. We're working on the next. Let me see here. No, let's update this quick. Yeah. So we're slowly building out on the website here. We've got this videos tab. And so let's say you want to get started with plants and all of that. This is, how to kind of grow plants and do all of that. But I know I've done another video kind of in this series where it's how to cycle your tank. Let me just... see if it pops up here. Right here, cycling a planted aquarium biological filter. Old video of mine, still rings true to today, but that goes over how you would start your tank with plants and why you're going to introduce bacteria with live plants and all these things that are going to be good for it. Yeah, so back to what I was getting to is I clicked the wrong button. We are building out some categories. So we have one that's kind of how to get started with plants, and then we've got another one, how to treat some sick fish. And so there's videos here, but there's also links to the products that we use, and there's also different blog articles. Like if you wanted to treat skinny disease or wasting disease, we've got it written into here basically with these different meds and what are they doing, and so yeah, and I don't know what the next one could be, cycling or something like that. I don't know. We're up to over 1,000 videos at this point, and it's getting hard for someone who might be new with that tank to actually find that information, even though we've done it. A lot of times we've already done the information a few times, and it's getting buried with so many videos. So, any tips on trimming stem plants in a tall tank to keep them looking full? Well, so normally what happens with a plant is if this is the stem, right? And this knuckle is the node, right? Because stem plants have nodes, like growth sections, right? And depending on light, they can get taller, like between those sections, or shorter. So more light kind of usually will do a little more bushy, so that's one thing. But if you cut at the node, typically what happens, you cut the node, you'll get a sprout that comes from one side and another side. So it naturally gets bushier the more times you cut it. So if you keep trimming, it'll keep getting bushy. Now, part of that problem is the more bushy it becomes, the less light gets to the bottom of the plant. And when that happens, usually those leaves die off, so it looks all spindly down low. If that's happening to you, then usually you got to cut and replant and plant it down further. That's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of stem plants, is they tend to be kind of a lot of work over time if it gets super bushy. You know, a lot of the plants, like maybe a Pogo Pogostem stilettus octopus, they don't get that bushy and crowd themselves out, so I don't mind that one, right? But I also run a lot of tanks, and I don't want to replant every month. So, all right. Science is a lot of interpretation of data. Look at the debate of the health benefits of eating eggs. Yeah, and that's everything is debatable in science. You know, and you get that, like, I'm trying to think of an example that, you know, like broccoli prevents cancer, and then like 8 years later they're like, wait, broccoli actually makes cancer happen. And then 2 years later it's like, well, turns out it's only with this pesticide. And then 3 years later it's like, actually, we don't know what we're talking about. I just realized 2 of these things have fallen down. It used to be 1, now it's 2. Oh, I'm gonna have to go with more stickums. The only issue I have with the cares for him is not enough guppies. Yeah, I mean, part of it is it's self-driven on the forum, right? So if you want more guppies, you need to post more about guppies. You know, if you post about guppies, then maybe I chime in, then maybe someone else chimes in, maybe someone else chimes in. And that's, you know, forums, they kind of meander to whatever people are talking about. And if you talk about guppies and no one talks about it, then maybe you talk about it again and again. Eventually, someone else gets guppies. And now you're pulling it back towards the way you want it to go. Do you know how to stop? All right, this is going to get a little nerdy here. Do you know how to stop wen pimples on my aranda? And on the fin, it has 2 white bumps. So a wen on a goldfish is the fatty deposits that grow there. In terms of stopping them, there could be multiple causes. It could be parasite, could be infections. In general, my recommendation is keep a very low stress environment. A lot of times that could be not very much kind of nitrates and just other pollutants in the water. So fresher water, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's the right word. It's not, because nitrates, I believe, aren't actually detrimental to a very high level. Fresher water, and by fresher water I mean stuff that I really can't test for that might have built up compounds. So freshen up the water and make sure it's, you know, pretty fresh. And then I use salt, because if it's, you know, if it ruptures, the salt will fight off the bacteria. Also, if there's active bacteria on the fish, it's going to help kill that off. And so salt, that's all. The only thing I've ever found to actually work long term is get that goldfish in a low stress environment, not being chased by other fish, all that kind of stuff, fed well. Take some salt, and I do it at a tablespoon per gallon, and let that thing just marinate for like 3 to 6 months. You'd be surprised how many tumors will recede, how many pimples like that, all that kind of stuff. Well, it's not a magical cure. It's not like I had a broken arm, put my arm in a saltwater bath for 3 months, and now it's not. It'll, you know, like that tumor might be huge, and now it's like, wow, it's 1/8 the size. It's still there, but reducing the stress and all these things and getting a better diet going into it, basically putting attention towards a fish and really trying to optimize its health, a lot of times you can see a dramatic improvement. Now, sometimes when you go and you try and add that back into like your main tank, the cause is still there. Maybe it was getting out competed for food. Maybe it was being forced to spawn all the time. Maybe the temperature was much warmer in that tank. Whatever the catalyst was, you could also reintroduce it back to it. But a lot of times, the reason quarantine tanks work so well is you just take it in a different environment. So imagine like you've got a kid, they're having trouble at school and all these things, like maybe they're getting bullied, or they don't connect well with their teacher, or maybe whatever reason's going on, right? you can try and work through that, and that's one method. Or sometimes moving to a different school, like, oh, all of that stuff went away and now they're thriving. And that can happen a lot of times with fish, of taking it out of that school, putting it into a new environment, and all those troubles went away, and now it is, oh, it's getting enough food. Look at that. Doesn't have to breed every day. You know, fish breeding is very hard. You know, so we know, like with dogs, right? Puppy mills are bad because, one, they're not treated very well, but two, they breed and breed and breed and breed and breed, and it's very hard on a body. That's happening all the time with fish. Fish are breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding. They can't get away. In the wild, they can go somewhere else if they want and try and get away further than your 4 or 5 foot glass box, right? So if we can lower temperatures, or we can do things to alleviate that, and this goes beyond just having the right male and female ratio. Maybe you've got 1 boy and 6 girls, that helps, right? But if if you're already pregnant and you're being, chased by that male once a day for an hour, even though you got 6 or 5 other females, that might be enough stress that it's causing you to kind of lose weight and have ragged fins and maybe susceptible to disease. Where if you were to split that male all the way off, or that female gets her own 10-gallon tank, all of a sudden a lot of that goes away. So I find one of the best possible fixes is get this fish alone and then spoil it. Now, you could definitely side with, but this is a social fish, it might freak out, all of this. That's true, but you have to pick something to do. And for me, isolating it allows me to focus all my attention on the one fish and try and figure out what's actually going wrong. All right. Are black rams in the wild, or are they only tank bred? They're only a tank bred cross. Well, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think anyone's ever seen black ones in the wild. Have I looked into a co-op silly pint? I think they're based near you on the West Coast. I have no idea what that is. I'll try and look it up later. Is there a difference between water wisteria and pogo octopus in regards to the benefits of the tank and the growth rate? They're both pretty fast-growing plants. I don't think you'll see a discernible difference. You might go, hey, one grows a little bit better in my water than another one based on maybe your water parameters or your light or something like that. But if it was like a Nubius versus a fast-growing stem plant, sure, one would consume more than the other. But you kind of break them down into stem plants, and then you've got like epiphyte plants like Anubias, Java fern, Bulbitis, Buse, all of that kind of feed off the water column, but slow growers. And then you've got root feeding plants. And so if you're comparing two from the same category, they're really similar. Actually, there's a fourth category, that'd be floating plants. So the fastest of all of them would be floating plants because they grab unlimited CO2 out of the air, right? And they're really close to light. Then it becomes stem plants because they grow tall and they're most likely to be next closest one to the light. And then it depends on the individual plants when you go down to like rooted plants and epiphyte plants. But in general, that's what happens. And there's studies that I've read, which back to scientific studies, right? But for sewage treatment plants, I think it was like the Douglas fir tree was like the #1 waste consuming plant. And then it was corn, like corn stalks. And then it was, I think, hornwort. It was either hyacinth or hornwort. I have to look it up again. But one of those two aquarium plants, basically, was the third fastest consuming thing in the world. And I think it was hornwort. Because hornwort, when you get it going, it can grow a foot a day. Let's add a foot long piece of that. So, and even if you're like, I don't have very good lighting or fertilizer going and all that, it might grow an inch a day. But even that's a lot. Does clear fish pooping from guppies always mean some sort of parasite? No, it can also be upset stomach or pregnancy, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's probably like 70% of the time it's parasite, and the other 30% of the time could be something else going with that. Am I still looking and ordering fish from the fish room? Yeah, I brought, you guys will see some videos coming up, but there's new fish in the 800 gallon. Maybe 2 groups of fish if you haven't seen it. And then there's another one. Let's see. You guys just saw those species that I ordered the other day. there's still more. There's still more. I think new. You guys, I can't remember if I showed. No, I showed those. I think I've shown them all at this point. But yes, I'm still looking. If that, it's hard to remember. Like, so when we film, right? Like some of the stuff. Like, okay, I filmed that 5 weeks ago. Have I? Did I show that yet or not? Not sure. I was considering getting some Dwarf CPO Mexican crayfish for 75-gallon tank with shubunkins. I'm worried they'll be eaten. Will enough plant coverage and places to hide help? It'll help, but I gotta be honest. What fits in a fish's mouth usually goes there. There are ways to make it work. I just don't know that it's gonna be worth the hassle. So it could be done. I feel like I would probably just do it in a different tank, though. That's my take on it. For 3K members, will you wear a pirate hat and grow out my beard? No. I'm kind of beyond the doing party tricks for stuff thing. Not because I think it's beneath me or anything. It's just like a long beard irritates the crap out of me, so I don't like that. And then the pirate hat thing, like, yeah, I could do it. It sounds like work. I'd have to buy one, and then it's gimmicky. And yeah, I just how am I trying to say it? Basically, if the want strikes me, I will totally do it. But I basically don't do anything that I don't want to do anymore in terms of my career, because every time I do, it just goes down a path of like I didn't enjoy it, blah blah blah. And right now, I'm not feeling the big beard and the pirate hat. During quarantine med trio process, why can't you feed them, particularly with nanofish? Well, the reason I don't is because if they're passing a large internal parasite and you feed them, sometimes they get stopped up and they die from it. So usually I find, or another, maybe an easier way to explain it is like, when you have, let's say you've got a stomach bug or something like that, and you're on the toilet with diarrhea all the time, and you go and drink some Gatorade and it runs right through you, and it's miserable, right? Or you've got the flu and you're puking up everything you eat. You don't eat a whole lot because it just comes right back out. And then the other thing you have going on is in quarantine tanks, a lot of time there's not established bacteria, so now you're feeding and causing ammonia, and the ammonia ends up hurting the fish. So like let's walk down a path, right? You got some fish, they have bacterial infection, they're in quarantine, you use the antibiotics, you're feeding them, ammonia spikes, now you've burned their gills, right? So you're treating a bacterial infection, which the ammonia is making the bacterial infection worse, and then you're trying to get the best of it. Whereas if you just don't feed, right? You don't feed for a week, the fish is fine, and you don't run into that problem. So that's what we have found. And you know, still the biggest thing I always tell people is just because you're not feeding doesn't mean they're not eating. There's algae in a tank. There's little crustaceans that get in a tank. So in a brand new sterile quarantine tank, maybe not. Maybe there isn't yet. But by day 4 or 5, there might be algae if you got a light on, right? And it doesn't have to be visible to the human eye, but you know, allowing the fish to eat at its own pace and not, not kind of running into that. Now, each case is individual. There are some fish that will come in that are they're so emaciated that you have to feed them before even treating first. Now that being said, when fish are that emaciated, usually they don't come back from it anyway, but 97% of the times they're not so emaciated, and you should, well, in my opinion, my store, myself, right, I won't feed, and I will focus on just getting them cleaned out and getting them healthy and all of that. How can I get Alternanthera renekii to be less stemmy and more bushy? You need to trim it a bunch and more light. The more light something gets, the more compact it becomes. Now, people do that, and if you're not matching with the proper nutrients and tank flow and all of that, you just end up with an algae farm, right? So just know that to get it more compact, that's one way to do it. You could also search out some Alternanthera renekii mini. It just tends to naturally grow smaller. So that's another option too. I've lost one Otto and a Harlequin Rasbora that were too emaciated to recover. Yep. Ottos, that's a big one. Like, you hear about that one often where once their stomach's really sunken in, they don't come back. In fact, I've got one that I saw in there that was that way, and there's tons of algae. And it's still alive, but I'm not seeing that belly kind of come back yet. So I'm hoping. When does Xtreme go for sale in the UK? I'm not 100% sure. The last email I saw was like 10 days ago. I think there was some additional certifications. I think that was the hang up. I think the food's actually there, but it needs like another rubber stamp on import paperwork or something like that, or the ingredient had to be verified. I can't remember exactly what the holdup was, but it was something like, oh, we're just waiting on a stamp, basically. You think Sterbai Corydoras are large enough to go into a 75-gallon with a Severum safely? Yeah, probably. I mean, I've seen some Severums get just like really big, but most Severums are more like this. I think you're probably okay. That being said, you can have some Severums that are very aggressive also. So definitely kind of have a backup plan if that's not going to work out. Started your first saltwater tank? It's been nice knowing you. No, that's enjoyable. I think everyone should do saltwater at some point, because me doing saltwater made me appreciate freshwater even more. And you might go, hey, I love saltwater, I'm doing freshwater again. That's fine too. You'll at least know. You know, it's kind of, if you never try it, it's always going to be back in your mind like, hey, I wonder if that's better. I wonder if I would like that more. And for me, it just solidified, no, I do not like that more. It's still interesting to me. I still could do it in the future. There's still some projects I'm still interested by, but for the most part, I'm really still interested in the stuff I like, and that's freshwater. Any interest in growing saltwater macroalgae plant? Oh, in the tank trend? Yeah, so I was into that. You know, if you go back, if you were to watch all my live streams, probably 5 years ago or something, I always said the saltwater tank I wanted to do, improve the internet wrong, which maybe now it's coming to fruition, is a aquascape tank with macroalgae, because there's really cool color, macroalgae to do it, and then convert guppies over to saltwater. And so I just thought that would be very cool looking. I'm hoping someone's doing it now, because I want to see it done, because I just think it's going to look really cool and be perplexing of like, wait, it's saltwater though, that's so weird. And you can do it with mollies and that kind of stuff too, but yes, it's a lot of work, but I think it could be very cool. I just don't enjoy actually aquascaping, and so to set out on that quest, you better make it look good, otherwise everyone's going to make fun of you and like tear it apart. So if someone does it right though, then I think they would get a lot of kind of notoriety, if you will. Like, I don't think there's really notoriety anymore on the internet. It's kind of just viral stuff that gets seen and gets stolen, right? Most things you see on the internet, in my opinion, this day and age, you never see the original source. You see someone buying the rights to it, or someone just stealing it, or whatever. Like, most of the shorts that are on YouTube are just stolen TikToks, right? That kind of stuff. So that's my own little, but I digress. Unfortunately, that's the way it works this day and age. Because I mean, even the poor person, not like they're poor, but the person that had that clip of Murphy eating and us in Newsweek, like, yes, we own a Mubu Puffer and a lot of the other facts are correct, but that video wasn't even ours, so they don't even get the credit. Can you describe your perfect setup for a couple pearl scale goldfish? Oof. I've never had great long-term success with them. The thing I would try next for pearl scale goldfish would be probably something like a Zoom Ed tank, that 10-inch by 4-foot by 2-foot tank, or bigger, something really shallow like a big frag tank. Keep them so they don't have to go up and down very much, and just like pearl scale, if I was going to try it again, it'd be like 1 per 50 gallons. That's what I would do, which seems crazy, but I've found them to be just so temperamental and it could be from food issues, could be from heat issues, and that much larger footprint, by the way, is going to create a lot of evaporative cooling. It's going to help a lot of things in that regard, but that's the way I would attempt it if I was going to. I'm the only person in southern Canada to ever get coral poisoning. 2 days in ICU and kind of teaching the doctors where to find information on Polytoa poisoning was fun. I mean, I know all these things are like that can happen, but I've never known anyone to have that happen, and I'm not even sure how it happens actually. I'm guessing allergic reaction is my guess, but I don't know. All right. Submerged growth pothos. I have some that has all leaves submerged for over 10 months. Leave the tail end of the stem sticking out about 3/4. No leaves out of the water, just stem. Yeah. Lamont, as someone was talking earlier, Lamont used to grow it that way. And yeah, I've seen it grow in a few different ways. I don't always see it be 100% be successful, but I've seen enough times that I think it can be done. Do reticulated Hillstream loaches eat shrimp or smaller fish? They don't. My experience, not any smaller fish. I don't think they would do many shrimp, but they might eat some shrimp babies. There's not too many fish that wouldn't eat a tiny, tiny shrimp baby because it's so close to getting to that like brine shrimp stage. Can I mix flue wall substrate with sand to help the plants hold better? No. Both those substrates are light and not that great in terms of holding plants. My advice would be pick one or the other, and my next advice would be if you're having plants being held issues, I would tell you just to get normal aquarium gravel. You won't have any more problems. A few root tabs in there, you'll probably do just fine. I don't know what plants you're trying to do yet, but you'll probably do just fine. What do I think of the brand Lifeguard? I think they're overpriced. And I say that because like our feeder, right? They sell the same feeder for literally twice the money. I think they've got some products that were innovative when they first came out, like their different canister inline series, their heater in series, that kind of stuff. But I feel like a lot of stuff could have been updated over the years, and it really hasn't been. Oh, my water change just came on. Hopefully you guys don't have to hear that. But any company can change really easily, right? All it takes is a dedicated effort by management or the owners or whatever to go, hey, we want to change this aspect. We want to become more price competitive. We want to update our products. We want to. And, you know, the thing that is hard to understand as a hobbyist usually, we might not be their target demographic, right? So when you look at Lifeguard products, you're going to see them a lot on Lowe's and Home Depot websites, that kind of stuff. And they might be going for that, I just need to buy something for my pond, or I just need to do this type of demographic instead of the hardcore hobbyist. And at that point, someone's willing to pay $50 for a feeder instead of $25 because they only needed one, and they were able to get it off of Home Depot's website, right? And that's just a different person than we are. Let me see if I can find some stuff on there. Well, I don't see any of it right now, but I do find it interesting how every big retailer is becoming like just a reseller. So, like here, this is Home Depot we're talking about here. This is Home Depot, and it's like, oh, BioBalls. You've got algae control. You've got Pure Nature Pets zeolite rocks, right? Rebranded. Like this is just the same air pump that like Petco used to do or does. So you get all this like rebranding of stuff, and yeah, it's, you know, it's weird for me to watch the marketplace change of like we're just getting more and more towards decentralized specialty, basically. You know, like no one thinks to go there for aquatics. They're likely to have, and I don't know because I haven't tested it, but I would say likely to probably have limited product knowledge, right? And how much, if you're worried about tools and lumber and that kind of stuff, how much product sourcing are you going through before you say, hey, Extreme Power US, you can sell this filter that has, horrible reviews, right? Like how much, and that's the thing is I pride my business in probably too much and way too thorough of product selection. We only offer like 235 products, including variants, right? So different sizes of stuff. It's a very narrow thing. We could offer 10,000 of them tomorrow probably, but the customer service, how does Candy learn 10,000 different products, right? How do we carry parts for all these things, right? And that's the thing is a lot of that stuff is going away. Every year we get further and further from, oh yeah, sell me the part, do this, do that, which we don't even carry a lot of parts. Most of our stuff doesn't have a lot of parts because the manufacturers don't even offer a lot of parts. But I just think in general, I think we're gonna go from we were super specialized, we're gonna go to super generalized, and then we're gonna go back to super specialized again because, you know, right now maybe you can get that thing you want from a Petco, PetSmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, right? But at a certain point, and maybe this would be a good, let me do a good example what I'm trying to illustrate. So maybe you're new to the hobby, you're not new to the hobby, I don't know. But maybe you're just like, I want to buy a sponge filter, right? You've got reviews can help, but there's probably a few hundred different types of sponge, and what you order is not always what you get. Are they going to teach you about fine foam versus coarse foam? Are they going to, spell out, let's look at this Aquaneat one right here. Is it going to spell out whether you can put an internal air stone in, which you can't in this one actually. So there's stuff like that where it's like you can get there, but you're going to be missing the information. I think over time what's going to happen, and I could be wrong, by the way. If I'm wrong, maybe we go out of business. If I'm right, maybe we do really well in business. I don't know. That's a good thing about, or the thing I like about business is nothing's assured. Every day, you gotta hopefully, make your way in the world and do a little bit better, and hopefully stay in business, right? This thing's kind of cool. I hadn't seen before. It's an airstone, little spongy. I don't know that it needs to be in the world, but it's new and different. Which I've seen and sold these for when the store was open, or when the store was open. When I was in the store and we were new, these things. Which these were just a pain in the butt. No one ever really enjoyed them. They were good for small tanks, but that's why I developed like our nano sponge filter. And but every day, just more and more and more like sponges come out. It gets harder and harder to go, well, is it made by a reputable company? Will it have a warranty? Will it last? Will it be the porosity I want? Will it do this? Will it do that? Will it, do this and that? Let's look at this thing real quick. Here we go. Intake sponges. This is literally our picture. Oh man. So again, like let's chime back about four segments ago and say like nothing on the internet you get credit for anymore. Everything gets stolen and just goes viral and reused, right? Like no one. Well, I guess someone could deny in a court of law. I would have to prove it, but this looks suspiciously like the Aquarium Co-op tubing and green sponge filter with coarse sponge foam that no one else has on the planet. But again, so this does help me illustrate my point of, can you trust this thing when they're showing this foam? It's closed on one end in theory, right? Which it could never work for this filter if it was closed on one end. So this is purely the non-specialist, more of the generalist thing going on there of like, and that's why you'll see like on Amazon reviews or whatever, and people are saying like, it's not like the picture, it didn't do this, they measured it wrong, blah blah. That's actually hilarious. That I mean, I promise you, I didn't set this up. Like I was just clicking on stuff, and then here it is. Like, oh man, and a lot of people are like, why don't you go after them? It actually takes quite a bit of work to like get this to go after this. And to me personally, I kind of see it as a little bit of an advertisement. Like maybe someone's going to be like, hey, I wonder, how do I find this green one? Maybe they like that. And then eventually maybe they find our website. But I do find it comical that I love it when you make points and then they like come through and just bonk you on the head on accident of like, wow, okay, point proven, can move on here. Yeah. If we had to send a cease and desist on everything that was stolen from us, that's all I would do all day long, every day. Like, even just videos, 20 a day at least. 20 a day, people are just straight up stealing the videos and re-uploading them. Their content all the time is stolen, and it's unfortunate. And that's where I basically rely on customers to do their own work and try to figure out, is this true to this company and that. And that's why people don't trust photos and all that anymore, is because so many things are stolen. Yeah, and so much so that we don't even use pictures on the internet and stuff for thumbnails and that kind of stuff. We pay to get all our pictures, so it's much more expensive to do it that way. And that's why we have Jimmy full time, and we have Lizzie taking pictures, and we have to create our own assets so that we don't run into these problems. And it's a pain in the butt, but it allows us to move forward. And then, you know, at some point, if someone's blatantly doing it, we do send letters and that kind of stuff if it gets out of control. Like that one, in my opinion, like, you know, it's the fourth picture on a thing and it's not even applicable. But if that was like on our competitor's website and they're like marketing it, then we would go after them. Something's wrong with one of my yo-yo loaches. By the way, somewhere I read the other day that they were calling them YOLO loaches, and I was like, kind of true, you do only live once. I bought two together months ago, and one is full grown, but the other one is still very tiny, and since the day you brought it home. Most likely what's going on there for you is you bought two, and one is either bullying the other one or just eating all the food. This is why I have the mantra that I probably haven't said often enough lately, and it's always buy one or three or more. And you need to disperse aggression or feeding and all that kind of stuff. And loaches in general are a social animal and they want lots more. So you might try getting another couple yo-yo loaches and see if that doesn't help it out a little bit. This would also be another great candidate to take that one loach, put it in its own tank, feed it up really well, and then maybe you introduce the two other loaches, get them all feeding up really well, then you bring all three into the tank, and now you've got four loaches, and maybe the pecking order and the social structure of those loaches is much more beneficial to all of them thriving instead of just the one thriving and the other one surviving. Let's see. You keep saying you need more fish in your videos. Any interest in some shellies or other Mabuna with your yellow labs? At the moment, no. I mean, if I'm going to do shellies, they're going to be in something like, you know, the 800 gallon or the 230, a bigger tank. That's what I like to do them in. As far as more Mabuna, I still want passive breeders. I want a lot of passive breeders, which Mabuna can, but I have to set up the tank. I'm trying to think of any Mabuna I actually want to do. The only combo, I think there's one Lake Malawi shell dweller I've never kept. That's really rare. I would do that. But at this point, want a lot more live bears and just kind of, because the part of the problem I have is maybe this problem you're having. If I make a bunch of Mabuna and shell dwellers, I have no outlet for them. Right now, I'm getting too many of these. Sell them at the store. I don't care what they go for. Like, that's a real easy transition for me. Same problem as, like, I love Cyprichromis, and I breed them fairly often, but they never sell well at the store because they're too expensive / you know, people don't know about them, and they get large for people's community tanks. So maybe I missed what's on the floor. Yes, those are ping pong balls. It's true. We don't pick them up because they just, well, one, they roll off the table. and we're lazy. Well, and part of it is, so we'll play a bunch of ping pong, and eventually you get like 20 of them underneath the 800 gallon. Then eventually the Roomba goes around and knocks them all out of the 800 gallon, and then since the room is sloped and stuff, they all go to right there basically, or right here. So that's how they end up. You know, maybe like, oh, there's like 3 on the floor, and you come in and you're like, oh, 30. Okay, I got to pick those up. But like today, we'll have some people over, and I'm assuming a lot of ping pong is going to happen. I don't know. Maybe no one wants to play ping pong with me, but usually there's ping pong if people are coming over. What happened to all the beautiful crypts that are in the 800 gallon before the move? There's floating in totes. If you watched yesterday's video, those are the same crypts. They've just been floating there. I could not be lazier. Best investment for ornamental live bearer. There is no best investment. Whatever is the best investment today will be the worst one in 6 months because they breed so fast, they change. The best investment is probably education, learning. You know, I can make just as much money off of things that like, those are just normal as I can of like, that fish cost me $500. It's all about, you know, demand and how you breed it, developing processes. Yeah, it comes and goes. That's the other thing too. You put a foam noodle so they can't go into the 800 gallon? We have like 50 plus ping pong balls, so it's, I mean, they don't roll from the front. They go from behind. They go over it. Like it's not just like one little bar. If anything, putting the foam noodle, once they do go back there, the Roomba won't be able to get out. So it'll actually hinder instead of improve. Am I Forrest Gump level of ping pong? Nope. I only get to play about once every 2 weeks. I mean, I am getting better. I'm not good. I am getting better, but yeah, no matter what, I've been playing some video games lately, so that's been taking up some time, but not like enough. The good news about video games, if I play a slow enough video game, I can work the whole time. You know, so turn-based stuff or just stuff that's kind of real low-key, I can be answering emails and conversing with YouTube and making this improving. I have to proof a lot of videos and blog articles, and you know, a lot of my days are that where it's like, okay, now, you know, like I had to proof a video from Irene yesterday, and there's 2 blog articles in the queue. The day before I had to do the video that came out here, and then also I got to go film videos. I had to proof the guacamole video. And so there's a lot of things that just keep hitting up, and there's like advertisements we're gonna start sending out in our boxes. There's things about proposals we have. We're making proposals to maybe network with some event creators or people that put on events. We want to be in part of that scene. So there's all these things, and then there's like we had the incredible heat, right? So we're buying and doing more things and making more changes for the warehouse and the store and COVID mask mandate changes and there's all that. So every day it's like I need to weigh in on how do we feel about this? What do we want to do here? And then there's like, hey, this website bug came up. I need to be able to sit here and replicate it. Is it a phone bug? Is it in this browser? Is it in this browser? Make the video on how it's happening. Send that to developers. Hopefully it gets fixed the next day. And then we wait to see like, oh, that broke something else, or it is working, but this part is still a little broken. And but I can do all of that mostly while engaged in something else or the forum. I mean, there's obviously the forum, so there's a lot of stuff. Whereas ping pong, it's all ping pong. I got to be over there playing ping pong. Will there be any new products being released soon? Yeah. I don't want to say what they are because we have the data to show that when I say what they are, people just try and find them somewhere else, end up buying something instead of buying ours. And so it only hurts us. But yes, I think on the next container, there's at least 2 for sure. Maybe 3. We also have another new product that's only in store only because shipping killed it. Yay! Everyone's favorite game. Work for a year on developing something and then circumstances change. It's no longer profitable. Woo! Our brine shrimp salt. That's awesome. Did all the packaging, got all the import, because salt is chemicals, right? So it's like a big ordeal to get that to come into the country. We do all this work. And right now we have 800 bags of it, of like 15-pound bags of salt that's super fine and awesome for brine shrimp. The problem is, if we launch it online, we'll probably sell that many bags in 4 or 5 weeks. And it's $15,000 for the cargo container to ship another one out. The other problem we run into is the salt is so dense and heavy that it maxes out the weight requirements on a 20-footer. So we'd have to have, even if we bought a 40-footer of it, 20 feet would have to be empty. So we're paying 15 grand basically for a 20-foot container, when that same container, when we brought it initially, was I think like $1,500. So what the problem is, salt, just like gravel and that kind of stuff, we're already going to be like, we're not going to make any money on this, but we want to make sure that people have success with our brine shrimp eggs. So we'll sell the salt, not really make any money on it. And then when the cost to get it to us 10x, we can't afford to ship it anymore. So it is for sale in the retail store. If you're a local customer, you can walk in and buy it, and it will be awesome for you until something changes. Until something changes, we can't afford to sell it online. I mean, and I just have one principle in business that goes over top of everything else. Don't do things intentionally you know we're going to lose this money. And that is one of them. I mean, there's something like donating to charity. There's, doing things to do them. But then there's like this super scalable thing of like, we can't control how many people are ordering it and all of that. So until things like that can change. So one of our product launches just kind of got axed as it arrived, which was literally the same week. It was, oh, this is too expensive to sell now. Great. All right. Where was it? I've interviewed a few of your peers like John and Lisa for KD Tropicals, Rachel O'Leary, and PecTech. Would you ever consider letting me interview? Sure. Yeah, I would. Especially, one, you're a member. Two, I've seen some of the work you've done. And in general, I'm open to being interviewed and that kind of stuff, so long as we can schedule it out and it works. Sometimes, different time zones are really hard, but don't be shocked from like, yeah, I can do that. Great, let's plan in September. You might be like, what? And it's like, well, I've got a lot I got to get done before I go to Peru. Then I'm in Peru, and then I'm back. And September might be the sweet spot. I don't know yet, but we can look at schedules and maybe make something happen. A lot of people are turned off by like, that guy's trying to put me off. Like, no, I just have that many things in front of you. I have to book things sometimes months and months in advance. Like, we're working on one event that's in 2023 right now. So as we keep doing that stuff longer in the pipeline, and there's product launches and there's speaking engagements and all this stuff, it just becomes that like, yes, the nearest opening is that far away, and it's not a power play or anything like that. And sometimes it works out though. I've had a couple of times where it's like, you know what? I actually, this Thursday at 2:00 happens to be like, I technically don't have anything penciled in yet, but that doesn't happen very often. Rico is a superb interviewer. That's right. We've had a heat wave in Michigan. My water temp slowly rose from 79 to 83 and naturally went back down to about 80. 2 of my Mickey Mouse platies had babies, and so the bristlenose plecos. Temperature involved? Possibly, but probably just happy coincidence, I would say. Yeah, I mean, water doesn't, like, those kind of fluctuations happen like every day in Peru. So we freak out a lot, but really it's not that bad. I use marine salt for hatching brine. Yes, that's another great option. Yeah, we were trying to, part of the thing to wrap my brain around, and maybe you guys do too, is like, let's say half of us live in states or areas where a Petco, a PetSmart, or mom and pop shops are close by. Then the other half of the country, it's a 2 to 3 hour drive, and then maybe it's still not even available there. So it's how do we, part of my thing is how do we help people that can't even get access to it, right? And that's what I was trying to do with salt, is like, okay, well, let's help the people that, like, it is a real burden to get to. Because let's say it takes you 4 hours round trip to go to your local fish store to get salt. That's a burden. Let's say I could sell you salt. I don't make any money, or I make 20 cents or some real nominal amount, and it arrives to your door, right? That would then me be helping you out and not really being a detriment to us. But if we were going to lose $1 and have to store it and do all those things, that's too much negative side to try and solve something. Because you got to think about it. It's like that salt has to ship separate, can't be crushing plants, can't be doing this, can't be doing that. There's a lot of things that go on when we have to think down the pipeline. Like, what if someone orders a light, salt, one plant, and a brine shrimp hatcher? It's like we just shipped 5 different packages. They would crush each other. They would do this. They would do that. And that ends up being like, oh, we lost $12. So we actually have reports set up that, because we get like 15,000 shipments a month, we can look at every one that potentially lost us money. So obviously reships. We track every reship or everything that gets lost, all of that. And Candy does these reports every week actually with other members of the team. And I go over these reports with Randy every week, and we just look at trends and that kind of stuff. Like I expected there to be way more problems with the heat wave around, and the plants actually did pretty good, right? So we're tracking all these bigger things going on, and it allows us to see like, oh, this combination of items loses us money. Like that's unfortunate because the free shipping kicks in, and then this kicks in, and that kicks in. So yeah, and we try to limit that. That's why there's the $15 limit. Like purchases under $15, 98% of them would lose us money every time, which seems impossible, except it's our average to ship something quickly to you. If I go, hey, you want, this is more than, let's say this right here. If you ordered this, right, I think we sell it for like $5, right? It costs us $11 to ship it to you because we ship everything priority, right? So we ship you this, and then it's $5. You pay $5 for shipping, so you've given us $10, and we paid $11 ship. We lost $1 selling it to you. And you do that a few hundred times, it starts looking really bad. And then imagine like, oh, it got lost in the mail, or oh, it got damaged, or so that's how we put the minimum in there. It also, so there's that, but the bigger portion, and I'm still working on this. I think it's incredibly wasteful to ship one package with one item. There's always I forgot, it's super important, I need medicine tomorrow and my fish are going to die. That, sure. But then there's like how can we combine these more and make them work? So yeah, sometimes a weight limit. We don't want salt crushing the plant. But then sometimes, like in a meeting this week we were having is, how do we convince people to buy more plants at a time? On average, people are buying 1.1 plants per order, right? So and we know, like during the winter, a heat pack and a liner get used, right? And so those are resources that get used up. I mean, you can reuse the liner. That's kind of a cool hot or cold bag, right? But the heat pack gets used up, and then all the shipping supplies. And so how can we, in an effective way, get people to buy, like, well, if you buy 3 at a time, that's 3 times more efficient for the environment. But we know that if you lose 3, you're losing that much money. We know there's like this balancing act of like, well, I'm new to plants, I just want to try one. How do we get that customer to try 2 or 3, and therefore won't just order one plant every week for the next 10 weeks? So, all right. Let me take a look at memberships. See where we're at. If I can find it. What else we got? We got so someone said we have HAP and BAP. So far I'm committing to the Breeders Award program. And by committing, I'm going to try really hard. As far as the Horticulture Award program, I haven't built that out yet, or Zenzo hasn't built that out yet, and I'm not sure how we want to make sure we verify and do all of that. Let's see here. There we go. And there we go. Where's the number? 3,005 members. That's what I like to see. That number looks way better than before 3,000, because we're going to use that number to also talk to event organizers. Like, look, this is how many paying members we have. We're going to you know, here's how many just subscribers, and I say not just subscribers, which by the way we hit 650,000. All right. But you know, here's our demographics in your area and all of this, so that we can go, we might reasonably be able to hold an event and we could bring this many NERMs or this many subscribers or this many fans, right? And you know, some of the things we want to negotiate is, can we get members a discount at the event? Can we get them an extra thing? Do they get an extra this or that? Like, we're trying to play all that membership into one win-win-win-win situation. More people show up to their event, that's good for them. You guys get a discount, or you get an extra freebie or something like that. That's a win for you. And then we get the win because you're still our fan and buying from us, right? So trying to get that full circle to work for everybody there. Oh, we did create another page. I don't know if I showed you guys. Up here, we do have this club thing, and we have the join the club. So if you're wondering, how do I join? One, you can watch this video on kind of what it's all about. This was shot in Peru. I'll be making a new one. Maybe I'll try to make a new one in Peru. That'd be fun. I hadn't thought about that till just now, but a new one with more of the updated benefits. As time goes on, this page will get updated with more and more benefits. We have more that are like this close to launching, but I don't want to put them in writing until we can actually do it. This also explains how to get the membership for $4.99, because if you're on an iPhone or a Mac, no, I think it's iPhone or iPad, and you're joining through the app, it's going to charge you $6.99 right down here. So if you go through the website or you go on a desktop computer or an Android device, it'll only be the $4.99 if it's through the app. So we're, you know, because we don't see any of that money anyway, but even if we did, we only want it to be $4.99. Now, we probably need to put another little blurb on here. It could be at a different price if you're in a different country, but I think most people that are in different countries know there's a conversion rate, and if they see, you know, this many euros or pounds to become a member as opposed to dollars, they probably know, oh, it's a conversion rate. Shows you where to find the you know, the members only videos, and you can even if so maybe, you know, because we have a lot of people that can't find it, you just got to click on this button and it will open up and start playing some of them. Oh, yeah. So it starts playing some of them, which everyone's getting, oh, they just saw members only content. But all of these videos through here, which there's 49 members only videos at this point. Hey, where'd it go? 49 members only videos. And so, you know, that's not bad. Was that a dime a video at this point? So, but yeah, there's going to be more perks coming. And yeah, so hopefully you guys will consider joining. I know a lot of you guys are waiting on becoming a member for the first talk and that kind of stuff. My only advice to you at this point would be, don't wait till it's too late and you miss reminders. Like, once I get some feedback from YouTube on how to set it up, I'm gonna start putting up the events so you can set reminders and do all of that. And, you know, there may be some stuff we're doing. We're gonna, okay, let me, how do I say this without getting in trouble? We might be able to base some of the perks based on how long you've been a member. That's one of the, I believe that to be one of the API integrations from YouTube. The sooner you become a member, the more those perks could build up. Now, I haven't built any of those perks yet, but let's say, oh, at the X amount month mark, you now get access to this or whatever, right? I have to look into legalities of, like, I can't go, at 3 months, I buy you a taco. Actually, I might be able to do that. That actually I can do. I can't buy a random member a taco. It'd have to be if everyone at 3 months got a taco, that's legal. But if I said at 3 months you'll randomly be in a drawing for a taco, that would be illegal. That's gambling. So there's all these little things I gotta, you know, make sure are correct and legal on how to do it and all of that. But yeah, becoming a member sooner rather than later starts some of those potential benefits earlier. Yeah, I don't know. Do we have that? I think we do have that perk on here. Let me see. Members only content. So we have the club, the whole club thing with calendar events and all of that. We have in-person events, which we're still planning some right now. We have the member only content on YouTube, the chat function during live stream, which you guys are experiencing now. One that we don't have on there, because I didn't really want to put it on there because I don't always do it, but I do send out alerts. So like Pink Flamingo was one we were doing for a while when it was really hard to get. I wonder if we have it in stock right now. I would say, hey, we have some in stock. Buy it up before the public gets a hold of it. We do have some in stock right now, actually. We know it gets a little bit better supply. Randy flew out to vendors and pleaded with them to set up grow beds just for us on that plant, and now we're starting to get some. Not a lot, but some. Anyway, or when new products launch, we always, well, so far lately, we've always been giving you guys a heads up first of like, hey, here's the new product. Because a lot of times, the first print run on everything we do is not enough. And we do that because if something was to go wrong, we don't want 4 billion units of something that's broken. Now, if something is wrong, we'll make it right and all of that. So, I realize that, like, well, why do I want to be the test dummy? Like, well, we'll make it right. So you get some alerts on that kind of stuff. And, oh, you guys saw, like, there's extra pictures and, like, sneak peeks of what's to come going on. But yeah, and every day that it's Zenzo's job to think of more ways to give value to the members. So every day you've got someone working 8 hours. How do I make this better? How do I make this better? How do I make this better? And the more stuff we do, the more people are gonna want to join. Like, I know that one of the things, like, I'm supposed to get hopefully the test version. The test version is supposed to come to me tomorrow of YouTube integration with our website. If we can make that made up, now we have the ability to send out like a NERM only sticker, right? So like you get a free sticker when you place an order, but what if you were to get a NERM sticker? Well, then we could build the NERM sticker. We could do this, we could do that. We can do all these different things, right? And so we have to start testing that. Hopefully in that week, we'll get it working. The whole goal, by the way, is to save 5% on all purchases for members. That's the whole goal that API even started. And we're hoping that it will work out. It's been trying to work with YouTube because like so few people use the membership API. So few that we're the guinea pigs on this because most people don't have very many members on YouTube. And so therefore they're not willing to put all this time and effort to link up a different system, right? But once we have that working, then we can work on making the breeder award program so that you log in, you submit your stuff, eventually someone reviews it, you get your points, and it's all bound to your email address. And yeah, so I'm hopeful for that because that unlocks so much for us. I will say it unlocks a lot of data too. So we don't sell your data or anything like that, but we do use your data. What does that mean? That sounds bad, Corey. Well, for instance, if let's say I could negotiate a deal for an event. Let's say Aquatic Experience no longer exists, but let's say it was Aquatic Experience and it's in Chicago. If I can look at our data and go, hey, we've had, out of 3,000 members, we have 200 of them that live in the Chicago area. And we would like to get them a discount if they come to Aquatic Experience to hang out with us. And we're willing to send all of those people a postcard if they order from us. We'll put it in there about the event. You guys at Aquatic Experience get free advertising. Our members get $5 off, and we get to show up at an event and meet our fans. That's a win-win-win, and we're using the data to do that. Without that, then we'd have to go, well, we have some fans. I don't know how many. And also allows me to go, we have 200 paying members in Chicago. Xtreme or Fritz or whatever the company we want to partner with, we want 200 of these to give away, right? Oh, you're a paying member? Let's tell Xtreme, like, we want everyone to get your new size Xtreme betta pellets. And then, we'll find a way to verify that, right? So there's stuff like that I want to pull off with the data. Nothing like, nothing nefarious of like, we're going to sell it to the pineapple pizza company that's going to spam you with that. But yes, membership is... So I was thinking about it today, actually. Legit, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, if we do this right, a worldwide membership club should be bigger than our business is. So I was thinking, we have 650,000 subscribers. What if we could get a third, which is a big number. I'm not even claiming it's not a big number. We can get a third. We can get a third of people paying $5 a month. That's gross. That's $1 million a month. Do you know what we could do to the aquarium hobby with $1 million gross? We could put on events, we could travel the world, we could put on events in other countries, we could hire more people, we could make it so fun. I mean, with $1 million, we can make the event free, and we can do like, oh, there's gonna be 3,000 people there. Let's do a swag bag worth $500 for every one of them, like, and get all the companies to participate. We can do things that have never been done before. And I don't think it sounds crazy, but so did having 650,000 subscribers when I had 1,000, right? It's all time and effort and all of that. And yes, it's taken 6-7 years or whatever we're at this point. But what if in 6 or 7 years we are at that point, and now we've got this thing where we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. We can, we're gonna build a new, like, I'm trying to think of the right way to put it, but new like water feature type of thing for the school or library or whatever. Like, with that kind of money, we can do all kinds of stuff. And, you won't be able to know this outside of me, but I basically try to spend all the money we make on YouTube back into YouTube. That's always my goal. So the more money we make here, the more I put back into it. The business, on the other hand, the business is, oh, Corey should make some profit, be able to buy a lawnmower, that kind of stuff. But the YouTube part, I purely look at it as like, this coming in goes right back into it. And so far, I've never not been able just to funnel that money right back in and go, yeah, if we had more, we could do more. We give everyone who attends a 125-gallon tank. Why not? That sounds crazy, though, but with $1 million, like if we had $1 million, we could probably like have a tank delivered by like customaquariums.com to everyone's home or something crazy. We could probably work out a deal with them, right? The scale at which you actually have that kind of a budget to do things, you'd be able to do things that you can't dream up yet, that seem impossible. Like, what if, oh, it's Aquarium Co-op's National Taco Day, they bought how many gift cards to Taco Bell? Sickening. This pink flamingo always grows super slow. It's like a ½ inch tall in 2+ months. I'm trying to figure out if it's being outcompeted. Heavily planted tank with high light and CO2 and root tabs. It is fairly slow growing. That's why it's kind of expensive. So yeah. It takes me 3 to 4 months to join Aquarium Co-op. It's one of the best you can join. I would be hard pressed if we don't have the best membership program on YouTube in the club. Because our competitors and other people, I've been in there for years. Just like, I'm always trying to see good ideas. Like, I would love it. And YouTube uses our club membership in presentations. We just signed another one so they could use us as an example for other creators. But people have good ideas all the time, and I'm not beyond going, hey, that's a great idea. How could we take what they're doing in this mechanic, car channel and apply it to aquariums, right? Or, we don't want to do that. I see how that played out. That did not work out well. We do not want to fall into that trap. Which I realize, by the way, I should end this membership conversation with, I realize that everyone that can't afford or just doesn't believe in it or is against it will be, against it in the comments, and I appreciate that. I talked this up because this is in addition to. We still put out our videos, right? We still sell to you. It's still a forum for free. There's still blog articles for free. We still offer tons of stuff for free. This is just that next hurdle to get to, like, and that part of the problem is we don't have as big of a club because I don't have the vision yet. Like, well, with this much, we will do X. I haven't found that thing to, like, this is what we want to do right now. So, I've been meaning to say this for a long time. So I've been critical about aquatic companies for a long time. And while telling someone this, they have actually fixed that problem. And so I said, hey, I want to tell my fans about that. The Amazon Research Center, right? That's one of the couple organizations like Project Piaba and that kind of stuff. The Amazon Research Center is now listed as a nonprofit on Amazon. So what does that mean? That means that if you install, let me So, right here. If you install like a plugin or an app or something like that in your browser, like the Amazon Smile redirect, right? What does that mean? That means that every time you buy something on Amazon, if you do, which a lot of people do, a small portion, I think it's 0.1% of the sale will actually go to the Amazon Research Center. Now, on an individual basis, if you just buy, $20 worth of stuff, that doesn't do a whole lot. But when hundreds of thousands of people start doing it, or we use it for our business and stuff, that might lead to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 at the end of the year, which cost you nothing. And I just think it's so fitting that, oh, I'm going to buy this aquarium thing on Amazon, and a portion of that proceed will go to there, and it doesn't cost them any money. It doesn't cost you any money, right? So that's also those are also things that we have in our agenda. We have meetings about, not necessarily which charity, or not charity, but nonprofit or anything like that, but how do we want to spend our money? One of the ways, like my personal feeling, and there's a lot of people at the company, and we all have feelings on what we want to do, but one of mine is I actually want to see, we're chartering this boat to go back to Peru. While I'm there, I want to talk about and learn more about the boat in the off season, because it helps a lot of the natives and deliver medical supplies and all of that. And so then I want to think, how could we do something similar where we're donating a portion of memberships or our sales or whatever it is to basically getting medicine to that community? Because in my opinion, if I have a wild caught fish coming in from there that I'm going to sell, how can I get some of that money directly back in? Yes, somebody who collected got some money, right? But I feel like at the end result, if there's extra profit at the end, let's give a portion of that to medicines and preserving, the Amazon when we go back and that kind of stuff. So, and we're probably going to have we're looking at it towards, we want to do some more philanthropy and what different organizations and which ways and how much, because we still have to remain solvent, right? Like we can't just like, oh, well, we gave all our money away and then our new light that we launched was a disaster and we went out of business. Like there's still that whole like, that's scary. But then there's also the, well, we could probably pull this off, but we got to get, make sure our tax accountants are on board and make sure that things are happening, legally, and we're not doing things incorrectly. That's office space percentile. That's right. A fraction of a penny, just a fraction of a penny. You do that a few billion times and, just don't put the decimal point in the wrong place. And that's a great example. We don't want to put the decimal point in the wrong place and be like, did you know that we donated more money than we made last month? What? My only membership too? Don't even really know what it does. Well, Shelby, the good news is you can go on our website, see the other perks. We're building out more perks all the time. Which, obviously speakers, the club, there's going to be a discount coming. There's going to be other stuff. Like we asked you guys what you guys want to see, and there's a laundry list of stuff. We've gone through it, we're writing down ideas. How do and some of us are like, that's an amazing idea. How could we actually make that work? How do we get that across the world to someone who lives here and here and here, and make this happen and make that happen? So, it's more than just how do we make it happen in America. Same thing. Like right now, we're trying to make an event happen in the UK. It's been real slow going, I gotta be honest. But I don't want to go there and just speak to other businesses and not do an event if I can help it. Because then people are just going to feel like, hey, he said he was going to try, he didn't try that hard. We're trying real hard. Honestly, like Zenzo probably hates me right now with the amount of effort we're putting in to try to make that happen in another country. Bring the luggage tags back? We're searching. And what I mean by that is, we cannot seem to find a vendor that will put barcodes on things. So if I want to send you guys a pen, like, we used to give away Aquariumcoop pens, ice scrapers, luggage tags, all that kind of stuff, right? Now in our warehouse, something like this isn't trackable without a barcode. We can't make sure it made it in the box. We can't add it automatically to your order without a box or without a barcode. And so I say almost no one. We haven't found a single one yet that will make like a promotional item and put it in a bag with a barcode or anything like that. So, that means that we're either A, gonna have to go to an actual manufacturer and have it done in China or Vietnam or Taiwan or something like that, which that becomes this huge ordeal, right? Of like, oh, I gotta buy minimum orders 500,000 pens. Whoa, okay, I don't know if we need that, right? But we're trying to find someone who will do that, and then also because so this is how the process works for me. Like, okay, they can do it, great. What happens when we go to the UK? We want to give away these luggage tags. Will they auto ship that to it for us? Oh no, we got to ship it. Okay, how do we make that work, right? We gotta, there's always that next step of like, we're halfway there. I love my stickers. So here's funny. Well, here's what I think is funny. Everything you do, there's someone who hates it. So let me see if I can find it, because I find it comical. Let me see if I can find it in a timely manner, because it's those things that make us just scratch our head and be like, you truly just can't just do a good thing. It's literally impossible to do a good thing anymore. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, right here. So these are all the bad reviews we've gotten on our stickers. Sticker is okay for younger kids. Would rather see a 20% off the next order or something like that. Oh, would you? I'd rather see $1 million order. Where's the other one? Yeah, this is the one that like just came in, or not just came in, but I appreciate you wanting to give me something for free, but this decal went straight into the garbage because I have no place for it and don't need it. Like, we get a decent amount of people that are angry that we send them free stuff. So we have spent time, we spent time with a developer. We had to rewrite the app and everything just to be able to exclude. So when you complain, we can go, please don't send them another sticker. They're angry about it. So, it's stuff like that where we don't always get to spend our time like, what's the next best thing we can do? Sometimes we get to spend the time like, how do we stop making people angry, I guess? We're giving them something for free, and they're angry. So yes, most people we know like the stickers. We get that. We also know that there's going to be that fringe 1% that are haters, and how dare you give that for me for free? And also a sticker and a 20% discount is not the same, even by a long stretch of the imagination. But we do now have that capability. So if you do not want free stuff, which we plan to give more than just stickers away. This is all part of phases, right? If you want to opt out of the free stuff, you can send Candy an email. We'll be able to tag your account that says, hates liking or hates enjoying life. We'll just make that the tag. And no, I mean, obviously there's, I get it. We're environmentally conscious. I'm just surprised. Like a free sticker, I'm like, oh, cool, I'll put that on my water bottle or something, I get it. But, or like our thought was, there's no kid to give it to. There's no other Aquarius. You can't bring it to a meeting, like straight to the garbage. And that's how I'm like, okay, there can't be environmentally conscious, because you wouldn't just throw it away. You'd find a way to give it away. You wouldn't just throw it away. Yeah. Yeah, I'd include 2 stickers the next order. No, we accommodate them, and that comment literally made us spend, I think it cost us $1,200 to not give away a sticker. Literally, it cost me $1,200 to pay the developer to change it so that we could not give a sticker away. That's the lengths we have to go to, and that's why it takes so much to make some of this stuff happen on a massive scale. It's just like, didn't see that. When we thought, well, let's give stickers away, nowhere on the roadmap did it say spend money to not give stickers away. You just don't think about that. You're like, yeah, if we could send stickers, that'd be great. Oh. Anyway, we still hope they liked all the products and all of that, and so we have a whole meeting on this, and then I stew on it. And this is why I can't sleep at night, by the way. Stuff like this. I'm like, my brain always goes, how did I not reach this person? They weren't happy with it. What can I do better? like I can't give them a 20% discount. Like that ain't gonna work. Like I don't know what their order was, but you know, there's enough orders to be like, we would just lose money. That can't work. So then I'm like, okay, what is a benefit we could give them or offer them instead of a sticker that they would appreciate that we could tangibly do? And I haven't thought of one yet, but maybe I can. You know, I'm not sure. But that's what keeps me up is like, well, and I know you can't please everyone, but somehow my brain, like I just want to be the best in everything that we try and touch. And so I'm like, just because it seems really hard to pull off doesn't mean it's not doable. I just haven't thought of it yet. And maybe I'll give up. Don't know. Does the opposite work? Can I send Candy an email for more stickers? I don't think so. We don't. Well, if I pay more money, I can maybe have the app do that. But at the moment, yeah, I can't. We don't have a way to add stickers. Well, additional extra stickers is the word I needed. Yeah, a 0.1% discount. We probably could, but the problem is like we'd have to turn like the discount field back on. It's a nightmare to. And you'd be surprised, by the way. We've had people email customer service because their discount didn't work and they were owed like 11 cents. And they will literally slam bad reviews. And it's because they didn't put the discount code in themselves. Oh, I forgot, blah, blah, blah. And then like you email us 3 months later, I'm missing my, and you think I'm joking about 11 cents. Not joking. 11 cents legit will happen, or has happened. I had a guy walk out of our store one time because we wouldn't match the Amazon price on Hikari foods, and the difference was 9 cents. And out of principle, I'm like, I'm just not going to match it. Like the fact that we've spent now 5 minutes for you to try and save 9 cents shows me that this is not going to be a good working relationship, because if you'll battle this hard over 9 cents, I can't imagine all the other interactions we have to have. I didn't say any of that, but that's why I wasn't willing to bend on that. It's like, it's one thing if you're like, hey, I'm a 12-year-old kid. I really want to buy this fish. I've got $12. It says 17. No brainer. We do that all day long. There's another thing when it's like, you seem to be a grown adult buying this, and you're holding like a wad of money, because a lot of times they'll do that, like they've got a lot of money, and we're arguing 9 cents. I could clean up fish poop, and now I've saved money, as opposed to talking about 9 cents. Yeah, Rob Lowe, literally. That's a good Rob Lowe quote. Yeah, you can't win with everybody. We try, you know, honestly, I'm just trying to hit 97%. If we hit 97% of people like what we're doing really well. You know, actually it's 95%. Company-wide, 5% or less, that's our tolerance. We'll drop a product. Maybe someday, I wonder if I could show you guys. Let me see if that's, I don't think I can log into it from here. Let me see. Maybe one day, if I get it approved by Randy and I look at it, I'll be able to show you guys a, let's see if I can find it. Maybe. If it's sanitized enough. Oh, it doesn't have my password. I'll see if I can show you guys a report of like actual metrics we track, just because I think it's important for you guys to see that. Because sometimes, you know, we've all been in that situation where you're getting the short end of the stick, like this is insane, right? But we at least have the data to back it up to be like, for sure, we'll make it right. But two, like, yes, you did have this insane circumstances happen, but it shows here that happens, you know, a defective rate is 0.0062% of defective, right? And we could like over 40,000 of them sold. So yeah, but we go through a lot of reports like that just to, you know, make sure, because it brings out if something's not going right, you know, and we want to know about that so we can complain to the companies, or we can make sure it's not still happening, or because every once in a while there'll be a bad print run. Like one of them was like a power head or something, and we had 3 of them go bad, which that doesn't sound like a lot, but it shows us like, wait a second, we haven't had one go bad in 3 years, and now we had 3 go bad in the same week. And so it actually was just a mismatch in reporting, the way it was returned and shipped, but it stood out, and we took a look at it. And so we haven't had any like massive, you know, things like that go wrong yet. But if we do, we'll be clued into it really quick, at least, you know, within a week. Do we have our own tank scrapers? We don't. We've tested quite a few, but I can't get any that are up to my standards. It's got to be, you know, at least as good a mag float, if not better somehow. And my goal was really to go to China this year in November and hopefully find one, but we have no idea if that'll actually be able to happen or not this year. So, you know, some of that stuff, it's much better to see in person than it is to like, samples cost a lot of money, by the way. Like, you know, each time we get a light sample with shipping and everything, it's like, oh, it's $1,800. And so sometimes you get the product, you're like, well, this could not be further from what we would want to do. Like, that was a waste. So we move on to the next one. And so you can save a lot of time if you can actually see stuff in person. Like, nope, 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 maybe, nope, maybe, ooh, I really want to look at this one more. Nope, 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 nope. And, you know, I know, for instance, to give some context, when we're in Guangzhou at the show, if you're looking for dog leashes, there was 3,000 different dog leash manufacturers there. So you can spend an entire week and not even thoroughly investigate every dog leash. Now, aquatics isn't that insane, but there might be like, oh, heaters? There's 92 of them. Like, whew, okay. And how do you reasonably evaluate so you can at least start going, okay, we narrowed it down to 6 or 7. Let's get back to the States. We'll start trying to work with these 6 or 7, start testing for longevity and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes, well, hopefully one of the times it'll work out. It hasn't worked out yet for those. You mentioned pens with a barcode. Is QR code okay? I don't know. I'd have to double check with our software in the warehouse if it'll read QR codes just as easily as normal barcodes. Part of the problem is, though, I don't think it. Well, it might work because we have to put the field into our backend system. It would scan as long as it converted it to the same kind of barcode type number. Could work. I have to look at it. Yeah, it's. Sometimes we got to get clever, and sometimes we have to have stuff changed for us. I really love to see an aquarium co-op hang-on back filter that takes all the best features from other filters and makes the ultimate hang-on back. Me too. We're working on the light first, and then maybe someday we'll work on a hang-on back filter. That's actually one of the ones we wanted to go and see in person too. We want to do a little more because before there's no way we could ever afford to launch that. Now there's a chance. I don't know what it's going to take yet, but there's a chance. If it kind of comes down to if the lights do well, they'll help fund the next thing. If they don't do well, it's going to cripple us. So we're scared. What are the 800-gallon dimensions? It's 8 feet long. It is 4 feet front to back and 40 inches tall. My next water change just started in the fish room. That's a good statement. Thanks to all the new members today. We at Aquarium Co-op are working hard to make being a member a real benefit. Yes, it's there. In the past, in my opinion, in the past, our channel and other channels, it's more of like a donation center of like, hey, donate money and help the creator. We are now taking it much beyond that to providing real tangible benefits for a price, basically. It's a club, it's a membership, and we want to deliver on that. We want it to be the best possible return on your $5 investment that could be done. It's kind of, to me, and I look at it like the Costco hot dog. Or the Costco chicken. If you guys have studied that, which I'm nerdy enough, I've read studies on these two products. But I know that I might go to Costco and spend $300. And I'm hard pressed to not get that $1.50 hot dog and a soda. Now, I don't go there because of that, but in my mind, I'm like, ooh, better not eat. I'm going to get that hot dog, right? The value is insane there. And if you really do it up, maybe you're like, I'm going to get a hot dog for lunch. I'm going to buy a chicken for dinner for $5, right? With all your stuff. They're not making it, they're losing money on those. They're not making money. But the experience of like, yeah, we should do Costco today. We get lunch and dinner out of it. that means more visits. And that's the same thing for us. If we can make a value that you'd be crazy not to become a member, you get all this value. You now are more often like, hey, I should order that from Aquariumcoop. Hey, I wonder if they have it. We're more in your brain, and that's what we're looking to do. We're not looking to make money off of it. We're looking to just be in your brain. That's right, we're going to be in your brain. Let's see. Is there any way you guys could offer plants like a 4-pack or a 6-pack for a slightly discounted rate, like an Anubias and a Petite 6-pack? We've looked at some of that stuff. The problem is, so here's the truth. The truth is we price things as low as we can go and remain profitable. And that includes things that might go wrong in shipping and paying our employees and all of that, right? How do we shave price off? We have to get more efficient. Right now, shipping prices are going up, everything's going up, so we're not able to do that. Now, if we were to give a discount, we need software on the back end to know what's the right amount. So if you buy, so the problem we have right now, because we've done lots on this, because plants are a great example for this, right? Let's say you've got a liner and a heat pack, and it can hold 8 plants. And we do a discount on 6 Anubias and a Petite. And then you buy 3 Amazon swords. All of a sudden, we made less money on the Anubias, and we have to use another liner that now costs us like $1 because shipping went up to get it over here, right? So it went from 25 cents to $1. So now it's $1, and we've already given you the discount. We actually make less money than if you had just bought 3. So we piloted this, well, not pilot, we built out a lot of the software a long time ago. We haven't implemented it yet, but we're trying a build a box type mentality where, and there's still lots to do on it. It's not close yet, but it would be that here's, like, let's say it's this box, right? And we have to put our shipping size box in, but it's this box, okay? How many plants fit in here based on, okay, well, Anubias and Petite, maybe 6 do fit, but Amazon swords, only 4 fit, right? So we gotta have a little leeway there. And then basically tell you, if you fill this box, save 10% or whatever, right? And then fill another box. The problem is, if you fill this box and one more, it's still not good for the environment anymore. Like, dang it, how do we make it so that, you know, on average, you're incentivized to make it more efficient for us and more efficient for the environment? And so we're working on that kind of stuff, though, because if it's more efficient for us, we can discount it a little bit, right? But if it's not, the minute we go to the 7th plant, it throws everything out the window again. So that's where it's like, we don't want to sell less. We need to, you know, feather it through. And meanwhile, all of this gets recalculated again because we're giving 5% off, 5% off everything you guys buy on the website if you're a member. So, you know, we're running on very thin margins, you know, in terms of all this stuff. So all of a sudden, there goes 5%. Like, ooh, we got to be even more dialed in with what we do. So, you know, it means we can't be reshipping those free stickers. I work in customer service, and I really appreciate your stories. They apply to just about every industry. People can be so lovely and so awful. Yeah, and people that are sometimes great can be downright miserable, myself included. You catch me on the wrong day, I'm a grump. Catch me on the right day, I'm really fun to hang out with. And we know that. You know, that's the thing, is we know that, like, maybe this person's just having a bad day. Let's try and let them cool off. And then we'll come back and be like, do you still want to do this? And if they're still aggressive, usually people can be snarky and not very nice to us once. And we kind of go, we'd still like to make it right and do all of this. They keep being on the attack. We don't want to subject any of our employees' mental health to that, right? So there's one thing to, like, you know, at the time I was grumpy and the plants were melted, and I really wanted to get this set up for the 4th of July because I had a big party and everyone was going to be here. And then, you know, we're like, well, sorry about that, and, you know, we're reshipping tomorrow, and we'll do the best we can, and this. And if they still come back and we're like, well, that's not good enough, and blah, 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 then we go, well, you know, mistakes are going to happen. In business, things will go wrong. No matter what you do, nothing can be perfect all the time. And when that mistake happens, and we try to make a best case scenario out of it, and it's still not going to be good enough for you and you're slinging insults, then you need to find a different vendor to shop with, and maybe they can accommodate you better. And it could be as easy as we're in the Northwest. Maybe you're in Texas and things overheated. Well, find a vendor in Texas. The problem goes away for you. We're not always going to be the best fit for every single person. And so that's how we know, well, we could end a relationship with a customer if we need to. And you guys can do the same. Our goal is that doesn't happen. But sometimes it has to. And it's unfortunate. We've definitely had, like I've had to ban some members sometimes. Like 2 or 3, I think, ever. But it's not a golden ticket to I get to do whatever I want. It's a a mutual respect thing of like, yes, we appreciate you being in the club and being a member. However, all the same rules still apply. We still need to abide by all these things. And so, I probably lean strongly the other way of, if you're giving me money, I don't want it to seem biased with my employees and stuff. So I don't want to be like, we're willing to take a beating at the expense of your mental health candy. I bias on the other side of like, no, we should lock these people down. We should not let them take advantage. And not that it's always taking advantage, but in my mind, like, we don't want it to ruin someone's mental health over, a Anubias and a Petite melted. Like, no one should have to be like crabby all day long with their family and all of this because of a bad interaction through an email about one aquarium plant. So it's that kind of stuff. If we can't be, all the time, I've got people that, I hire to, build things for me, and I don't get mad when they're like, oh, it took 2 days longer. Oh, this is going on. It's just like, hey, that's the cost of doing business. I know you tried your best. You're trying your best here. That's all I can ask for. If someone's trying their best, that's all you can do. You can't go, well, you should do better than the best you can do. No one can do that. No one can do better than the best they could do, right? If it takes me 14 minutes to run a mile, you can't yell at me and go, and let's say I pass out because I tried my absolute hardest. You can't yell at me and say, you're just not trying hard enough. You're like, I physically passed out. Same thing. If someone's willing to give you all your money back, let you keep the product, take the comments back to the manufacturer, do this and that, what more do you want from that company? What is it more they could actually do? Some people say, I need a 20% discount. You gave me a free sticker and you made me angry. You should be giving me 20% off my order. How dare you? Some people crazy. All right, well, it's 1:09 here locally. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do and yard prep, not really yard prep, but prep for some people to come by and hang out and get away from this thing we call the internet and business and get closer to my pond and ping pong. So I hope everyone is safe out there. I know that at least in our part of the country, it's very hot. Well, not right now, but it was very hot and super dry. We personally won't be lighting any fireworks at all. We're mostly going to be hanging out with some friends in the backyard. We are going to do a very small fire to barbecue some hot dogs and then cuddle our puppies, basically, so that they don't have any trauma from the fireworks. And I hope all of you kind of get to do what you want to do today, whether you are into fireworks or not. Hopefully it's not too hot there, and if it is, maybe really water down your lawn and everything and do it as safely as you can. And that way, when you're typing, you have both hands to use and don't blow anything off, because we're going to be here next Sunday. So thanks for everyone who watches, the fans, not just the members, the fans. Thank you for listening in or watching. And a new video on Friday, as always. Maybe even one Wednesday this week. I'm not sure. I proofed it. Don't know when it's going out yet. But thanks to everyone. Enjoy. And if I can find the button, time for me to get ready.